Hello, my name is John, and I am here with a tutorial for my Siskiyou White City Yard Timber Products 3 activity. This is so those of you who are having problems with open rails for this activity, I will briefly go over the settings that I have set up in open rails when I tested it, and then we'll go into the test run, a completed test run that I made. So with no further ado, let's get into it. First things I'm going to do is the general settings and how I've got everything set up. I go through all the options. As you can tell here in the general window, I have control confirms checked, dispatcher window, so I can use dispatcher window checked. I have large address aware binaries checked, and I have the disable TCS scripts checked. Here in the audio, I have MSTS bin capable sound checked. The volume's at 100%, sound detail level is at 5, and external sound heard internally is at 50%. Here under the video tab, I have checked dynamic shadows, shadows for all shapes, fast full screen tab alt, glass on in-game windows, model instancing, vertical sync, overhead wires checked. I have the 2D cab stretch to 100%. I have the viewing distance at 2,000 meters. Distant mountains are 100 kilometers, and the viewing vertical vision or field of vision is 45, and the world object density at 10. When it's in window mode, I have it set for 1280 by 720, which is 720p. And then the ambient daylight brightness is, right about 33%. Under the simulation tab, I've got just about everything checked. You've got the advanced adhesion model set to 10. I've got the brake couplers set. I've got the curve dependent resistance, the curve dependent speed limit, the tunnel dependent resistance, wind dependent resistance, the steam locomotive hot start, all checked. Over in the activity options, I have the autopilot set. I've got the extended IA train shunting. I've got the forced red at station stops, open and closed doors in AI trains, all set. And here at the experimental tab, this is where I like to have fun. I've got the super elevation set to 10, minimum length is 100 meters. The millimeters in gauge is 1435. I've got the load night and daytime textures only when needed set. I got the correct questionable braking parameters set. Right now, I don't have activity randomization or randomization of weather check, but you can play around with those to make the activities more interesting or to make the weather do more than just rain. That's what I've got set to do. The extended object maximum view distance to horizon is set. The low DDS textures and preference to ACE. That's just a higher graphic picture. I got that set. I've got the adhesions proportional to rain, snow, and fog set. And the adhesion factor correction I have set at 130. The randomness of that change is set to 0 for normal. And that's it. This is what you should set your settings for, or at least the way I have set the settings for, to successfully complete this activity. Now let's get to the game. Well, picking up at all Boise Cascade West BCW sidings, switch to manual mode by pressing the Control M keys. To manually control switches, you may use both the dispatch windows, Control 9, and the manual switch driver aid F8. Once you pass this next switch, come to a complete stop. Switch the siding and pick up the two setouts on Boise Cascade West Siding 1, BCW 1, and Boise Cascade Siding 2, BCW 2. Now it's time to go to manual switching mode by pressing the Control M. Then go to your switch window and click the bottom switch. Once the bottom switch has been thrown, reverse the engine to Boise Cascade West Siding 1 or BCW 1. You have successfully picked up your first set out of cars. Please proceed to Boise Cascade West Siding 2, BCW2, and pick up the set out there. You have successfully picked up this set of cars. Proceed to Rogue Valley 1, RV1, and drop off this portion of the consist. If you haven't already done so, press the Control and 9 keys to bring up the dispatcher window. The dispatcher window will appear minimized, so you must Alt-Tab to the dispatcher's window. It is a good idea to pause the game and not waste valuable activity time while you're doing this. Zoom in on your current path and change the switch points so your path lines up to the Rogue Valley 1 RV1 sighting. Well, reversing onto Rogue Valley Sighting 1, RV1, please remember to keep the speed down. With the current weather conditions and the rain, the tracks are slippery. Going too fast can cause wheel slippage or even wheel skid when you start to apply the brakes. Once you have fully stopped on Rogue Valley Sighting 1, RV1, press the Shift and the semicolon buttons at the same time to apply the handbrakes on the full consist. Once the train has come to a complete stop, the handbrakes have been set. Press F9 to call up the drop-off menu. Click the coupler between the 0-2 and the rest of the train to decouple the consist. Once the train has been decoupled, pull forward and return to the BCW Boise Cascade West sidings from where you started. Once the train comes to a complete stop, press the Tab-Alt buttons at the same time to bring up the dispatcher's window. If you've already closed the dispatcher window, you may have to press the Control 9 again. Remember to pause your game is not to waste any activity time. To be able to realign your path, be sure that you've already stuck your engine in reverse before you pause your game. Realign the path so you send your train to BCW Boise Cascade West siding number 3, as demonstrated currently on the video. pick up all the cars on these sidings from left to right. BCW3, BCW4, and BCW5 in that order. Once both engines have passed this next siding, you may return to auto signal mode by pressing Control M once again. Now that you're back into auto signaling mode, everything should run a little bit more smoothly. Just follow the path to Boise Cascade East Siding number 1 or BCE1. Remember to watch your speed in this rain. The tracks are slippery and you could slip right past the reverse point, which is what happened to me during the making of this video. The way I corrected it was I put the program into autopilot mode by pressing the Alt A buttons at the same time. This makes the train think it's a artificial intelligence train and automatically corrects any mistakes you may have made before you slide off the end of your authorization, set the emergency brakes off, and causes a lot more problems than what it's worth. As you see, once I got myself out of the situation, I turned off the autopilot and resumed control of the train. As you see on the track monitor, there is a red line that says 0.1 miles. That is the end of ear authorization. If you slide past that point, then your emergency brakes will automatically engage and you must revert to manual mode to release them. And then you cannot get back into automatic mode till you back on the original path you were on. When coming into Rogue Valley sighting number 1, RV1, remember to keep your speed down. We are going to couple to the consist that's already there. Once we've coupled, we're going to release the handbrakes and back up to the reverse point that's shown on the track monitor. Again, remember to keep it slow because I again did not follow my own advice. The wheel started the skidding and I had to use the autopilot to save myself from going through the reverse point a second time. As you watch the track monitor, you can see that red line getting closer and closer and closer. And once I've hit that reverse point, there was 83 yards, 73 yards. I was managed to stop with only 20 to 30 yards before the end of my authority, where I would have had to, like I said, put it in manual mode, release the brakes, and come forward to get it back on the correct path. But because I used the autopilot mode, that wasn't necessary. No, you pull the train forward a little bit to make sure that the train is off the reverse point and stop the train a little farther up the track, decouple the train, and pull into siding, Rogue Valley siding to RV2, and that will complete your activity. I appreciate you viewing this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and it's helped you being able to complete this activity. If you have any questions, just drop them down below and I'll try to return it as quickly as possible.